Welcome to another Motortown post-event race commentary. Today we got TWL's Formula Frenzy number 2, another one of my events, and we are going to just jump right into this. This is the first set of two. I participated in both sets, but I'll only be making a commentary for this one. I don't think I even uploaded the other one. It was just too frustrating. Nothing with the races being bad or anything, but I had some troubles for the second one. I'll talk a bit about that later down the line. I'll actually show you guys also an additional race that we did before starting the real second set of the races, but yeah, then I'll also tell you guys why it went downhill from there. Anyways, we have a decent field of participants here going around the steel mill grounds. What can I say? I just love this area. It's a pretty nice one, despite being fully flat and having only 90-degree corners, but with the different road widths and some of the combinations that we can have here, there's still a bit of corner variety to be had, and I managed to just get right up in front before completely running off the track here. So Chess is right behind me now, but I'm still in first, so I'm trying to push my advantage. Maybe also pushing my luck with barely still getting the checkpoint there. Also losing position here because, well, yeah. Anyways, we are still on lap number 1. I don't know how many laps we are going to have here. It might be 4 or 5. We'll see towards the end of this lap where the percentages on the left are going to be at. But yeah, when it comes to braking zones, I'm not really doing the best here. I had a bit of prep work, I think, but not enough. Also slightly getting stuck on Vormir here didn't help out. Another person stuck on me, another person getting stuck on them. This is a bit of a pile up. Kind of a mess, but yeah, we'll try to make the best of it. It's just that the Formula SCM drives very differently from every other vehicle in this game, and that's a good thing in my opinion. But you really have to get into its rhythm. You really have to understand how it works, and sometimes, for me at least, I might need a lap or two in order to really familiarize myself with it. But yeah, we are now in 5th position. Have fallen off the podium and down the line a little bit, but yeah, it's just how these things work. Honestly, a bit of back and forth is pretty nice for these events. It would be boring if everybody would just figure out their position in lap number 1 and then stick to it. Luggage going in for something here, and we are both getting stuck on each other. That was very risky. Yeah, I'm also overcooking the drifting here. Shouldn't really try that. The car is better when it's not going sideways. Although sometimes you can really throw it into a turn and still get a good line out of it. But I'm now potentially fighting for 3rd position here if everything goes nicely. So still in for a podium place potentially. But I also got Raging right behind me, so yeah, we're gonna have to see how this one goes. Could lose another position, could potentially make up 2, could maybe only get 1. There is a potential for, after this battle, the positions being reversed. Maybe I managed to make up a position, but there's a very good chance that Raging will get to me regardless. But right now I'm more likely to lose the position here. Didn't have a good way of getting around luggage there, so Raging is now in front of me due to exterior circumstances. But yeah, overall I'm still in the same place, so at least I didn't lose anything in that regard. But yeah, the thing is, I recently managed to find a better setup for my car. I'm now using 50% rear springs and 80% front ones. So a bit softer compared to, I think, 120% fronts, which I've been using before, or even 150. And it's making the car a lot more forgiving. It's much easier to catch it again if it steps out, which is also why I tend to drift a bit more now. Ooh, that was a close one. Bit too close with the rear wheel. Yeah, I managed to get off the racing line at least to not cause a crash, but I'm now down another position. So 6 it is. At least there's a bit of a gap to anybody behind me right now, so it's more likely that I can maybe get another position back if I manage to keep up with luggage than me just losing another place. But these corners are pretty interesting. Despite all being 90 degree. It's really nice that if you find a good line through all of them and can just connect them all together. But you still have to close up the entire lap in order to make a full track, so with the corner variety in this area it's a bit difficult to keep it interesting, which is also likely why there aren't too many layouts here. I think what we got so far is definitely worth doing every now and again. Trying to be a bit better on the brakes, still didn't really work out that well. At least I managed to stay on the track, but I didn't get to the apex, and yeah, that's still leaving a bit to be desired. This one was nice though. But yeah, right now this is just me chasing luggage. Raging and Zeki are having some battles up in front, or at least they are getting close to having a battle, it seems. Chessbot and Vormir, on the other hand, are very far ahead from everybody else, so they are pretty good in their positions, it seems. There's also quite a bit of a gap between Chessbot and Vormir, so they are very likely going to finish in first and second. But the battles behind that aren't really all determined yet. I doubt I'll be able to do much from this position. We are about to enter the last lap, it seems. So this is just a 4-lap race. And yeah, I really shouldn't be that close to the wall where I should be more in the middle of the track setting up for the next turn. I'm able to get close to the apex on some of these, but in other circumstances it's not easy, especially not with this car. This car really makes every track difficult. But yeah, coming back around on the back straight. Not like there's really a main straight on this track. The one where we have the start-finish line is really short, but worked out so far. I'm always trying to keep the main straight on or the start-finish line at least on a wider part of the track. Also close to a parking spot if possible. Just to make getting to the track a bit easier. But yeah, I'm really on my own here. There isn't too much to say about this. It's just try to keep it together, get to the end, and then go for the next race. Better luck next time. These early races aren't really always the best for me, so I'm trying to usually just stick to the second set. And to be clear, we are doing the same races for the first and second set, it's just that the first one is somewhere later in the day for Americans, and the second one is later in the day for Europeans, so usually the preferable time slot. This is in the middle of the night for me. But due to some things that happened in between then and that other set, it just didn't really come together for me. Okay, second race. We are over in Ara, which isn't really too far away. And funnily enough, I'm using a different car here. The reason is I was lining up. Somebody was right behind me, didn't brake in time. Kind of wrecked my car, and instead of trying to repair it, go to Gangyang or something, I decided to just get back to the parking spot and get another one out. Started in front, managed to get in first position by the other person in the first row in the starting line just not being able to take the turn there. I mean, it's a tricky one. It might be slightly deceiving if you don't know what's going on there. But yeah, this layout, especially the first few corners, they are so fun. I'm always happy to have a race over here. Even though in hindsight, I gotta say, with both the steel mill and Ara being part of this event, it's very heavy on 90-degree corners. At the very least, this area is a bit wider, so it feels different. You can take more speed through the corners. And also there are a few more bends in between. It's not all on the grid, unlike the steel mill. And also there's a few other things going on here, so this is pretty nice. So in the end, it's still a lot of 90-degree turns, but it's definitely a different sub-flavor of the same themes. But yeah, this is another shorter track, so we are doing quite a few laps here. I was able to really do quite well in the first lap, apart from maybe this turn. That seemed a bit disparate in the end. But yeah, coming back around to the start-finish line, I have quite a few people right behind me. Raging, Chess and Luggage. Vormir might be a bit further behind them. But yeah, that's a group of 3 people, and that's gonna be very difficult to fend off if they get close to me. So I'm trying to stay away, trying to build out my lead, but that might not be too easy here. And again, I'm doing the same mistake all the time. I should really be further on the outside there, which means really compromising on the line before that turn. But that would really allow me to set up for that turn differently and take more speed on the straight. But right now it's working out pretty well. The other people are a bit further behind. They are fighting amongst each other, and yeah, that's still keeping me up ahead, and hopefully I'll be able to carry this for quite a while. And I mean, I might just be able to join the fray once they catch up to me, and might still be able to defend some positions. I doubt I'll be able to keep first, but could at least keep some places here. Also, for some reason on the map we have somebody who isn't really in the event, but also on the track. Might be a spectator with a drone or something, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, now the other people have caught up to me, so this might get a whole lot more interesting here in a moment. Still somewhat ahead for the third lap. Trying to keep my cool during the chicane here. I could have maybe been a bit faster on the gas at the end, like really pull through and get a good amount of speed, but I mean that wasn't bad either. And I managed to somewhat pull away from them again, at least for a little bit. Once again, me not doing well on that turn. I really should be practicing that line in order to do better the next time. But yeah, that didn't help me. They caught up to me again. So, yeah. And now we might have Chess right behind or even right next to me. Not entirely sure if I can go for the full racing line here, so I'm more in the middle of the road, and this might be a bit of desync, but Chess kinda murdered me. I had a run in with Raging as well, and now I'm just down in fourth. This wasn't how I wanted it to go, but it went that way anyway, so yeah. Now I'm really on the offense again, trying to catch back up, but also Vormir is right behind me. We have 5 people in within 1% of the race, so this is really a close one. Or at least in an area where we don't have 2 checkpoints right after each other. All at 59% there, that's amazing. And yeah, especially if the people up front start fighting again, I might be able to get another place once more, and that might help me out, but as it is right now, yeah, I'm still trying to even keep up. Seems I'm closer to having to defend my 4th place against Vormir than being able to get into 3rd position. And yeah, you could see how luggage does the turn there. That's really how you are supposed to do it. I just can't bring myself to slow down enough on the bend before that. I come back around towards the end of the lap here. Or not really the end, but it's kind of a furthest away point in this direction. Before really going back to the start-finish line. And there seems to be a bit of lapping going on. There's Zolden amongst the first 2. This might be another point where I can get another position back. If maybe luggage struggles a little bit with overtaking there, but who knows. And there's Zolden once again having some connection issues. I think that's because it might be running at 30 FPS, and it's just very unsmooth with how it works with the net code. But yeah, both luggage and me managed to get past them, and I'm actually catching back up to luggage again, which is potentially very interesting. We are definitely on the last lap now. Again, coming around here, luggage going really wide. I'm trying to keep a tighter line through here, and we are both kind of missing the apex. I had a decent corner setup, but I just couldn't follow through here. This is a potentially interesting fight with luggage now on the last lap. Vormir also right behind me, so this can go either way. Luggage now pulling a bit further ahead again. Had a really good corner exit there, and yeah, I just didn't. Bit of zigzagging motion from my car. Managed to get back under control, but yeah, I'm now more on the defensive. And almost spinning out there. This is not amazing. This really hasn't gone too well. But at least so far I managed to defend against Vormir. We only have 2 more corners to go, so don't throw it now. That would be quite a shame. Yeah, Vormir a decent bit behind me, so at least I managed to keep 4th position despite losing first just in a really bad manner. I mean, in the end, there's a bit of desync going on and that kind of thing. That definitely wasn't really an intended maneuver on Chess's end, but what the hell can you do sometimes? Okay, anyways, on to the last track, and this one is different. Not so much on the 90-degree corners, and if you know the start line, you know what's about to happen. Also, Speedy just riding a shotgun on Chess's single-seater car, which is interesting. This is Jeju Grand Tour. I like to call this the green hell of Motortown, because that's basically what it is. We have around a 10-minute lap here, and it's quite different because it's going all over Jeju Island over here, through the different towns and everything. I don't know what happened to Zeki over there, but yeah, I know that with my checkpoint placement here, sometimes the stuff doesn't look right on the map, but I'm trying to keep the checkpoints placed in a way where it's actually easy to see where to go if you just look at the checkpoints themselves. So I don't know what happened there, but yeah, not really too much I can do about it. Yeah, we are about to come up to one of the fastest sections here. We have Chess in the lead, me in second position, Vormir right behind me, and then another few people further down the line. I'm not always the biggest fan of night races, especially not with a car that doesn't really have front lights. But with 200% moonlight brightness, it's not that much of a problem. This is a really tricky section, especially the start, where you have to be really good on the brakes and manage to get onto the bridge while in the braking zone and not just run into the guardrail or off the track completely and into the river. I managed to get through this thing really nicely and am slowly starting to get some distance to third place. Might not be able to keep up with Chess, but at least, yeah, I'm having a decently stable second place right now. We're about to hit the main highway. So theoretically I can go for a really deep cut, but who really wants to do that? I should maybe readjust the checkpoint. The inside used to be a bit more open before those bushes were planted, and the line felt differently back then. Now it would make more sense to be a bit more restrictive on that. But yeah, this is a track that I used for an endurance race before. It didn't make too much sense there, but I think as a single lap race, this is a really good candidate to really see some different areas and feel like you've done some mileage here and there. And I think this is also where we are about to come up to the one big mistake that I make on this lap, potentially. Like, this road is really tricky. A lot of little bumps, a lot of slight corners here and there. It's really going back and forth and quite demanding. And this is where I kind of lose it and run into the side wall. Also, stupidly, I'm not facing the gap that I made in the wall, so I'm trying to stay off the track, find a way back on, and it's not that easy. So that lost me a good amount of time and 2 positions. But hey, it's a long lap, we are not even halfway through, so could be better. That little issue there where I had this little zigzag motion didn't really help. Lost control for a moment, tried to counter steer to get it back, and yeah, didn't work out too well. But yeah, we are still going now on the ring road with those lovely little flower banks on the side. I mean, I talked about them at length before. You know, just stay away from them and you might survive. Yeah, coming back up to Jeju City here in a moment, we can see the harbor on the right side and also the tow truck dealership right here. This is another tricky corner, potentially ending us on the flower banks if we're not careful. This one here is maybe not quite as tricky. I'm definitely going way too slow here, but it feels like you're either getting way too slow or you're just flying off the side of the road there. And somebody apparently had some... Oh no, that's Zeki doing something different there. I don't know what's going on, but I really wish they stayed off the track there. And this one is also a bit tricky. I mean, this entire track is full of tricky corners. And another tricky thing coming up here with all those little jumps here. I try to avoid some of these with the track layout that I have here. There's another big one in front of or between the police station in Jeju and the terminal and tuning shop. Try to avoid that one, but this one, well, I can't really go around all of them. Especially not with 50 checkpoints. I was considering maybe making a hairpin at that point. Just a sharp right turn and go to the to this other road that I can't really show you guys right now. But there is the potential to have a nice little hairpin there, but it would be basically a killer for the flow, and with how long the track is already, I think that would feel more like unnecessary detour. But yeah, I'm still in 4th position, still going along. I mean, this is a combination that I've been waiting for quite a while. Sad that it's threw me back quite a bit by going into the wall at that one point. But this is still a lot of fun and I might have to repeat this. I think at this point we can also start talking about the second set. The thing is, in the summer I need to take medication. Just a pill against my hay fever, and those things, they can really knock you out. There's some side effects that make you really sleepy, and that's what I've been suffering from intensely for the second set. So the reason why I won't show you guys is because I was barely able to stay awake, and around the same time that I crashed here on this set, I had to leave the race on the second one because I was just not able to drive straight anymore. And the other races weren't much better either. So what I'm going to show you guys after this one is done is a little fun pre-race that we did before the actual start of the second set. And the first bit of the second set, just so that you can see an effect from that. And you're also overheating here for some reason. Maybe I should make the final drive ratio a bit longer. But yeah, overall, the takeaway from this race is I will definitely use this track for other events as well, as a one lap thingy. But I'm also looking forward to potentially doing this exact thing again. Have a free race formula event, and one of the races is just going to be this again because this is awesome. Also, I managed to lose a position to luggage. Hopefully I'll be able to get it back. I think if I remember correctly, there's something coming up in a moment. Yep, he hit a pole there, went off the track, and I just got my position back just like that. At least 4th is going to be here for me. Luggage also taking an extensive amount of time trying to get back onto the track for some reason. So yeah, I should be pretty safe here. trying to not do anything too risky on this part. There's a really deep ditch right there before you get onto the sidewalk, and that can mess you up. In some cases it's worth trying to do this, but you should really be at a steep angle against the sidewalk. If you're just going at it from almost parallel, you're not going to have a good time there. Coming around to the last corner, going over the speed bump here, and we are about to finish. Fourth position, everybody else waiting in front here, and this is just... yeah, this was a cool race. I wish I had maybe a bit more back and forth between some people here. In the end I was on my own for a lot of time, but it was fun nonetheless. Really enjoyable, and also I managed to get my position back against luggage. So that was a really cool one. Now on to the pre-race for the second set. Somebody decided to just host the first race, but with go-karts. I had to borrow a go-kart from somebody because I have one, but I set it up really weirdly for something that I was trying out. But yeah, we are doing the first race, I think 4 laps with go-karts first before switching over to the Formula SCM, and with how different those cars are driving and with me having some problems trying to keep it together, this is really going to mess me up. Because I'll be getting so used to the pace that I can go with these things that I cannot get used to the Formula SCM in time again, and yeah, maybe these bonus races should be at the end of the event. I was just really not dialed in anymore. But I'll show you the start of the actual event race for the second set, and you'll see immediately what I mean. Won't even have to do a full lap there, but this one I would like to show you guys in its full duration. And I should really also just get myself another go-kart and set it up for racing, because this is fun. I'm currently stuck behind Night Gauge. Chess is in first but not really driving away from us, raging right behind me, so that's always a bit worrying because he might just snatch my position just like that at some point. But yeah, I'm slowly getting used to the go-karts here, and they are quite something. Maybe not that amazing for a track like this one, because this has a few straights that might be a bit longer than they should be for this kind of racing, but you can have a good time on here as well, so this is reassuring that I should be able to find a few good tracks for this in the future. I gotta be careful there, don't wanna go too far on the inside. Making good use of the runoff there before going down to the 2-lane road here. But yeah, this race immediately convinced me that go-kart racing has potential for a fun event. So watch out for that happening at some point. Might still be quite a few weeks because I got basically a backlog of events that I want to do. Always trying to keep some things prepared for the next week so that we don't run out of events anymore. I may have slightly killed Night Gauge there. On my screen it was all clear, but yeah, I think we may have had a bit of desync there, and on their screen I might have just completely murdered them. Not on purpose, but yeah, at some point we're just gonna go for some of the gaps if they open up. But yeah, Chess about 200 meters in front of me. Raging still right behind me. I'm gonna be trying to catch back up with Chess, but who knows. I think none of us have really a lot of experience with these cards, so we might be able to do something here. Might also go horribly wrong, who knows. I certainly know that I don't have experience with these things, but who knows how much Chess has been driving with them. Might have done 100 laps on whatever track. On Anson or something, who knows. Maybe even A-Wall. Yeah, I actually tried off-road karting, it didn't go too well. I wanted to set up something on, or in Guangjin, just around the muddy paths around the town, and that is kind of interesting. I doubt it would be a good event to host with other people. Come back around on the long straight. Yeah, it's amazing how fast you can take some of these turns here. It feels like the biggest problem with these cards right now is harsh braking zones, because they tend to try and turn around on you. We really need brake power balancing between the axles. It's been an issue with quite a lot of cars. I still remember the Stellar Cup, that was the one where we had quite a few harsh braking zones on some of the tracks, and the car just didn't really want to deal with them. Also, problem with the rear just not having enough braking power, and the car just not really braking enough to begin with. But also the front brakes would constantly overheat at some point, so that made it even worse. Somehow I managed to get much closer to Chess over here, so this might be quite a good one. Raging fell a bit behind compared to me, so I'm doing pretty well. Should be able to potentially capitalize on this without the risk of losing this position. But yeah, 60% through the race, so a few more minutes to go. I think it should be one more lap after this. Chess going off to the outside, I'm going off to the inside. That's quite a difference in how we are taking this turn, but I don't think any of us did so really correctly. And I'm really getting close now. Had to figure out the card, but once I got there, I was able to really go quick. Which definitely has nothing to do with me now wanting to host one of the kart races. This is just because it's a fun thing, not because I could finally win something. I would never. I mean, definitely. Yeah, Chess just barely pulling away from me. And I really have to get on the inside, and I just went a tiny bit too far on the inside. Those were a lot of spins. And it was all my fault. Really want to get too much out of it, and yeah. Now I'm in third position. Thankfully the thing didn't get too much damage from it. Rear engine is always nice, you can just run into things head first and not damage the engine. And Chess even asking if he did this to me, but no, this time around it was all my doing. Thankfully these things aren't too fast on the straight. With me driving on controller, it's really tough for me to go onto the keyboard and type while driving. But I had to give a quick answer anyway, so yeah. It's working out pretty well so far anyways. Still at least third position despite that issue. I don't think too much is going to happen anymore though, so let me just jump ahead a little bit. Still third, coming back around. Oh, what the hell was that? I shouldn't jump between parts here too much, because otherwise there's a chance that media player will hang itself up on the video and... Okay, I went a bit too from the inside, so that little ledge there potentially an issue with these. But hey, third position, not too bad. Now on to the actual first race of the second set. Once again, I was very tired, I was battling all of that, and after doing 4 laps on the same track with a vehicle that may be a bit slower on the straights, but so much easier and fast going through the corners, let's just see how the first few corners go before ending this video. Again, I won't be showing the entire video. I don't think that's necessary. Fucking hell. Maybe if I go back to... Nope, that just hang itself up. Let's give me a moment. Gonna close that, gonna find the right video again and open it up once more. Should be this one. I love modern technology. Okay, so we are getting started here. Some stuff going on, but just let's take a look at how I go through the end of this part here. I think also whether that was just completely got messed up. But yeah, I'm barely able to keep it together, and I feel like some other people were also now used to a different kind of pace through here. This was all that I really want to show you guys at this point. This has been quite the mess afterwards. Just trying to first get used to the pace of the kart, really go fast around the track with it while not ever really having driven it, and then coming back to this whole thing. Completely different vehicle, much harder to drive. I just really couldn't deal with it at that point. Let's see how I go through that braking zone, but I think I'm ready to say thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you guys next time. And until then, as always, have a good one and bye bye.